to all of us. I want to begin by thanking the entire organizers of this symposium, beginning with the director, our pupils are here, our moderator, all of you. You guys are wonderful. The organization we've seen is top-notch. They coordinated very well. Thank you so much. That's too small for them, oh. That's too small. Yeah, so thanks. And to the management of the university, I think we also have to extend our appreciation to all of them. And before coming here, we were discussing if our public universities can just do, we are not saying to do all, just a little bit of what we have seen here, all of us will be happy. Look at the university environment. Look at how serene it is. Look at how green it is. Look at how welcoming and how friendly it is. If you are a staff of this university, I tell you, look, the staff, even if you're getting, peanuts, which we know you are not getting. We know now because, where we come from public universities, their salaries are higher than what we receive. That is why they are looking so fresh. Look at the way we are looking. So we thank them. And, for things like this, I think our VCs will advocate. Let them have a meeting here. These directors for all vice chancellors in Nigeria meeting, let them come here and have a meeting so that they will see for themselves. Nigeria, our great country. May God help us. So, dear colleagues, we are here for a keynote paper presentation on strategic environmental communication for promoting sustainability in Nigeria. That's the topic I was given to talk on. And when I saw this topic, I was like, wow, what do they even want me to say? But when I came here, I looked around. I said, what else will I say? The Pan-Atlantic University has done a great job for me. I don't know whether you took notice of the trash cans from the gate. Did you look at what they wrote on the trash cans? 3 of them. Doesn't mean you don't pay attention. The first one, cans, yes. Biodegradable. My speeches are like this, interactive in nature. I am not here to, do a kind of lecture. We are colleagues. We are here to talk. It is said, keynote what? Speech. Not keynote lecture. So, yes, now, what am I coming here to teach you? Prof already taught us yesterday. So I'm not going to adopt that same method for my presentation. So, strategic environmental communication for promoting sustainability in Nigeria. I want to begin with a small story. The first slide. I want to begin with, thank you, with a small story. All over the world, everywhere in the world, we are having this problem with what? Environmental issues. Just a few years back, I traveled to the United States of America for AEJMC conference. I don't know whether you know about the, yeah. And we were in San Francisco for that conference. After the conference, America, you've been to their conferences, they will say, bus tour, they take you around. So we went to downtown San Francisco. And has never left me, my memory. That was the first time for me to see the homeless people. You hear about homeless in the US, homeless. So downtown San Francisco, we saw them. The young ones with their children, with the children, old ones, boys, girls, there on the street. And you know what struck me? I didn't believe that we can see this kind of thing in the so-called what? US. The reason I'm talking about this is the same problem. You know, there in the street where we saw them, they were urinating there, defecating there. See trash cans littered, the refuse littered everywhere. Everywhere, stench, smelling. And we were like, are you sure we are in America? Are you sure we are in America? That's experience for San Francisco. Like she read, I did my postdoctoral fellowship in South Africa. From Joburg to Cape Town to Pretoria, the same problem. And, you know, it's so painful that in these places, you will see only South Africa, they saw the blacks. You know, they are English, blacks. They talk about blacks and the whites in South Africa. So you only see how messy the environments are where we have concentration of the blacks. And in the San Francisco experience, concentration of the people there, majority of them were again blacks. You begin to wonder, what is wrong with the blacks? You move down to Ghana for conference. If you've been to University of Ghana for conferences, the same problem. The other one is nearer home now, nearer Nigeria. So, so not surprised. And when I was about writing this paper, I came across one statement and assertion made by the United Nations Environment Program in 2023 that nations all over the world, developing nations and developed nations, are facing these environmental challenges. So not only Nigeria, in form of climate change and biodiversity loss, all forms of pollution, just like I've explained, forest desertification, and what? Rapid industrialization problems. So it is global. And that is why I think the organizers of this symposium did the right thing by selecting the theme to reflect on this problem we are facing right now. And from the global problem, we now move, we now move to our own peculiar problem. We've talked about South Africa, San Francisco, Ghana, then Nigeria, Anko. In my syndicate station yesterday, hey, we passed through Ojota, that dump site. You were the one that said, even after moving 5 meters away from 500 meters away from that place, breathing will be a problem. The stench is something else. From that thing, you move away. I was like, okay, maybe Lekki. This is my first time coming to Lekki. I've been hearing about Lekki, Banana Island, blah, 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 blah. Thank God for Atlantic people that brought us here. Lekki, from the moment we entered, I was like, refuse dumps on the road, just like you have in, I don't know whether you've been close to Apapa, the Apapa Canal. The same problem, the stench from our canals, pollution, all manner of pollution. Because when we talk about these environmental challenges, our minds go straight to the Niger Delta, oil spills, flooding. No. There are so many of them that we don't even talk about. So in Nigeria, we witness our own environmental threats in the form of oil pollution and the Niger Delta. I came here with my colleagues from Delta State, Southern Delta University. They will tell you, because most of us here, we don't know what they are passing through. The pollution. Majority of them no longer go to farms because of what? Okay. Aquatic life, you don't. So, for those of them in the Niger Delta, you can imagine what people pass through there on daily basis. The gas flaring in oil-bearing communities, the same problem. You cannot breathe. And you know what that can cause. Flooding and severe erosion for Southeast. I'm from Anambra. Erosion. And I'm also from Agolo, where you have it. Nanka, Agolo, those areas where you witness very serious gully erosion sites, taking homes and houses, leaving people homeless. Then deforestation. Deforestation and waste crisis. For deforestation, we know the reason. Rural-urban migration. You can see now the whole of Lekki Express, clearing, building houses. So, our forests are gone. So, these are own environmental threats. And we now move. We cannot talk about sustainability and all that without looking at our key concepts. The first one is what? Environmental communication. Prof talked about that very well yesterday. Dissemination and exchange of information, ideas, and values relating to environmental issues, aiming to influence public understanding, attitudes, and what? Behavior. We all know that. Environmental communication, communicating the environment to our people, using our own channels, with the aim of influencing public understanding and all that. So we now move. Why adding the word strategic? Because this is environmental communication definition. What makes it strategic? Why do we use the word strategic? So strategic in this case means something. I will give an example of the trash cans that I talked about, the things written on them. Environmental communication, you can go to class, write, students, maybe on their WhatsApp platforms or groups, tell them about how to discard refuse, how to handle the environment and all that. And yesterday when we were leaving, I saw some men. Despite the fact that the environment is already green, I don't know whether you see them. Some men still planting what? Grasses. Grasses. So this is sustainability and strategic communication in practice. It is deliberate. Look at it. Deliberately planned, research-based, and goal-oriented. It is intentional. It goes beyond the mere dissemination of information like we do in environmental communication. It extends over a period of time to sustain what you have already done in the environment. That is why they are still maintaining it. If they cultivate and build grasses and leave them, over time they will be overgrown with what? Weeds. But you see them still maintaining the environment, maintaining the ecosystem here. Clearing, making sure that everywhere is neat. Look at the waterfalls in front. Strategic environmental communication. This extends and incorporates advocacy and work. We come from public universities. I don't want to talk about the nature of our classrooms, but we know. Now so let's tell ourselves the truth. You enter a classroom to teach, what do you see? Now that we're in the season of groundnut paste littered everywhere. The consciousness is not there in our students. Sachet water, they will just drink and drop it. Or plastics of soft drinks, snacks, all of them everywhere. And, for the stubborn ones, you tell them, okay, take care of your class before I teach. Prof, not be we, but I don't pay school fees now. It's just, But the thing is, the right thing question is, the students, are they supposed to be the ones to take care of the classrooms? Are they? Yes or no? Is it the university management or the students? University management. Let's be moving. So, advocacy and persuasion. Environmental communication now, strategic one. If you want to strategically handle this, communicating to maybe the university management about the nature of classrooms and how to maintain the classrooms. Look at where we are, very neat. Advocacy is there. You have to advocate. Add what? Persuasion. You need to persuade the students. You don't end. Because even if management is doing something, persuasion must come in. So that when they eat the granuts, they will pack the pills and go out and do what? Trash it. Strategic environmental communication. Deliberate. Intentional. Goes beyond the mere dissemination. You just disseminate, share information, you relax. No. That's environmental communication. But this one is this. Then stakeholder engagement. Who are the stakeholders in the university that should be engaged? And strategic environmental communication. You must identify them. From up, Prof says something about from top to what? Bottom communication. It doesn't work. So moving from students. The information, the awareness, the knowledge sharing must begin with them. The class reps or class representatives, they have a job to do to ensure that the classrooms are neat. Then community participation, the entire university community, teaching, non-teaching, everyone, the consciousness. During ASU meetings, when non-teaching staff members are having their meetings, the use of multi-platform messaging. Not only memos, but the use of what? Digital and non-digital, all manner of communication platforms in the university to ensure that the environment is neat and green. Yesterday also, I watched when we were moving downstairs to go and take the group photograph. I was observing people, the lawns. You see, because the environment has been strategically planned, many people avoided walking through the walls. Go to public universities. Some will even jump. But because of the environment the way it is, you must do what? Align. So, strategic environmental communication is intentional, deliberate, goal-oriented, evidence-based, and research-based, using advocacy and persuasion, stakeholder engagement, community participation, and the use of multimedia platforms. And in this case, we talk about accessible, available, and preferred media of communication. So, the challenges we are facing in Nigeria is not our inability to come up with technological, maybe advances or ways or policies, name them. No. Someone delivered a paper in our syndicate section about the Lagos State Ministry of Environment, blah, 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 and tried to, the study was centered on evaluating audience reaction, the reaction of Lagosians towards their Twitter handle and the information they'll share on the Twitter handle. And I was like, the stench from the canal and from, do they share such information using their Twitter handle? And, our major problem is not policy. We talk about policies every day, interventions. Have they been impactful? our major problem is failure of communication, failure of strategic environmental communication. That is the problem with Nigeria. Yesterday, someone said something about, I think, Doc, you mentioned something about people not entering the forest in some villages because the traditional rulers mapped out those places as sacred. If you enter there to fetch firewood, something will happen to you, and people don't enter. Strategic communication, that's environmental. You know, our people, they can, But if you go to the villages and tell our mothers in the village not to cook with firewood because of issues of the biodiversity, logging, deforestation. Strategic environmental communication here extends to the provision of an alternative. If you fail to provide an alternative, you've not done anything. You are just irritating them. So that's our problem. We talk about it. Environmental communication. We share information. This one is bad. Bush burning is bad. What is the alternative we have provided to farmers to avoid bush burning? So our major challenges with regards to sustainability in Nigeria, I looked at what some organizations did and came up with 5 challenges. The United Nations Development Program, UNDP, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, and our Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, came up with these 5 major challenges as the issues affecting and negating Nigeria's environmental sustainability. The first one is what? Oil pollution. How do we handle that? The Niger Delta oil spills, gas flaring that we've mentioned, pipeline leakages, they all lead to what? Water contamination in the Niger Delta. Our farmlands over there have been destroyed, and that is why we have social unrest in the region, as captured by UNDP 2006. The next one, climate vulnerability. I've mentioned flooding, erosion, drought, desertification, and irregular rainfall affecting food security and livelihood. That's by IPCC. Then for Food and Agriculture Organization 2020, rural-urban migration, the logging, unscientific farming, deplete forests and biodiversity in Nigeria. And they mentioned that Nigeria is what? Among Africa's worst nation facing deforestation. That's by FAO. Then the next one, the third challenge, the fourth one, waste management. As we mentioned, when we were coming, the taxi that brought me to Lekki, I asked a question when we passed the Apapa Canal. I said, why is the canal water so dark? And why is it smelling? This guy opened his mouth and said a whole lot that I wished the Lagos State Ministry of Environment, I wish they're here. For these kind of things, let's always invite those people. They need to be here. Because of these things we've been talking, all of us who will talk, speak a grammar, and that's the problem with environmental sustainability. We talk. The people who will implement them, where are they? In their offices, doing something else. What did the man say? The man said that majority of the houses in Lagos don't have soakaway pits. And even when they have, you said it's true. For people that all the pipes are being channeled into the what? Into the canal. I shouted. He said, you can hardly see a house in Lagos with soakaway pit. All of them enter into the canal. So you can imagine. And that is why the stench. So what we are breathing in, and the man said, Have you been close? I say I've not been close to that place. So you say, if you go there, the type of mosquitoes that live there, the mosquitoes are different from every other type of mosquito you will see in Nigeria. He said the mosquitoes are big and very dark. They chop better food now. The mosquitoes are bigger than other ones and very dark. Very dark and very, very resistant to that. They are now resistant to that they can even go and grab your mosquito coil. Yeah. So you see, waste management. That is our problem. For urban rural waste disposal, this drives, like we witness the Ojota area, air pollution, land pollution, water pollution, disease outbreaks in many Nigerian cities. And the last one that we tend not to remember is what? Environmental illiteracy. Someone in our syndicate station or here said something about our schools. How do we begin to teach our children from primary school to secondary school about our environmental issues? How they can, from that early stage, adopt environmentally friendly practices that will save our environmental protection practices and climate adaptation strategies, both in urban and rural areas, are lacking. Low level of literacy. So we came up with these 5 major challenges, because if you fail to identify a problem, you cannot profile what? A good solution. So based on these problems, we thought about promoting, because the crux of this paper is on the approaches, promoting the approaches that we can use in achieving what? Environmental sustainability. We cannot just talk about the approaches without looking at the theories. So I said, there are communication theories that can serve as framework or foundation upon which we will profile or discuss the approaches. 3 theories of communication. The first one is what? The framing theory. How environmental realities are constructed. That's what framing theory is all about. How environmental issues are framed shapes what? Public response. The same issue, like oil spills, climate change, can generate different reactions depending on framing. We will still look at the frames. The same issue. But when you use different frames, different reactions will be what? Will be generated. That's the framing theory. We all know about it. The next one is what? Agenda setting theory, shaping what matters. Media don't tell people what to think, but what? What to think about. They will not tell you what to think, but successfully, they will determine what you think about. Nigerian media coverage remains event-driven. Event-driven and crisis what? Reactive. How? Press releases. When you hear about flooding, erosion, oil spills, always reactive. Strategic environmental communication is proactive. It is proactive. So agenda setting makes it possible for our media to do what? Direct our attention to things that matter. The next theory that guided our approaches is the participatory communication theory. You cannot talk about development now. UNICEF, United Nations, FAO, all of them, the theory they adopt is what? Participatory communication theory. engagement, stakeholder engagement. They must participate. If they don't participate, you will not achieve anything. Top down, no. Participatory communication theory. So these three theories served as the foundations upon which we tried to come up with the approaches that will help us in achieving environmental sustainability. But look at the frames I talked about. Depending on how you frame a particular information, environmental issue generates different public response depending on the word frame used. The same frame on oil pills can generate different reactions and mobilize different people depending on the particular frame being used. Like, let's take for instance, NNPC frame may be in form of gas flaring as what? A technical challenge being addressed through infrastructure what? Investment. You listen to the speech yesterday. Blow their grammar. That's all. So when they use this kind of frame, what will they mobilize? Regulatory bodies. Because of the type of frame being used. Then the community, the oil-bearing communities themselves, the same problem, but they may frame the oil spills and the issues as human rights what? Violation with devastating public health consequences. What will they, who will they mobilize? Civil society and what? NGOs that will come to their rescue. The third frame, the legal frame, the same problem. Evidence of corporate negligence demanding legal accountability and what? Compensation. The people they will mobilize courts and lawyers for compensations. And the last one, the political frame. The same problem may be framed at what? Systemic marginalization, warranting political redress and resource control reforms. Mobilizing what? Politicians and activists. The same issue, different frames, different responses being what? Mobilized. So, strategic communication must be frame conscious. It must be aware of both the frames it creates and those already familiar to target audiences. Strategic approaches. Having said that, we came up with 8 approaches. Because of the 5 problems, 5 challenges that negate our environmental sustainability in Nigeria, we came up with 5 approaches guided by the 3 theories that we mentioned. We'll take them one by one. The first one is creating environmental awareness. Second one is behavioral change communication, BCC. Third one, stakeholder engagement and community participation. The fourth one, building corporate environmental responsibility. The fifth one, environmental governance and policy advocacy. Sixth one, institutionalizing environmental communication units. Seventh one, empowering religious and traditional leaders. And the 8th one, measuring communication outcomes. Let's take them one by one. The first one, creating awareness. This is the first step. You must build knowledge, share knowledge, sustain knowledge on what people are aware of. If people are not aware of what you are saying, there's no way you can achieve anything. Knowledge building and sustainability is based on what? What people are aware of. So that is why awareness creation is always the first while trying to engage in any developmental activity. So, multimedia approach, which involves the use of mainstream digital and traditional media platforms, tailored messages for diverse target audiences across locations. Media's agenda setting function shapes what environmental concerns receive attention. That's the agenda setting theory backed up this approach. And even framing for awareness creation. You create awareness using all, because we talked about multiple media channels. Remember about our traditional knowledge systems. You don't forget them. The traditional tools, the traditional rulers, even our what? Religious leaders, they are there. Most women will listen to their pastors or imams, do whatever they want them to do, more than what the government wants them to do. Go to church, pastor says, come out, we'll do clean up today, we'll tidy up our environment, they will do. Government says, the sanitation days, they stay in their houses, do whatever they want to do, they will not come out. Traditional leaders, the same thing. So awareness creation must involve them. Okay? Did I jump? Okay. Number 2, behavioral change communication, BCC. For UNICEF and all these international developmental partners, BCC must be there. Every strategic environmental communication aims at what? Behavioral change, attitudinal change. Like we talked about refuse, our students and all that. If there's no change in an already existing behavior, you've not done anything. Number 3, stakeholder engagement and community participation, which I have already mentioned. Number 4, corporate environmental responsibility. NNPC, they are not here today. Oh, you are here. Thank you. So this is for you. This is for you. Oil and gas sector must live up to responsibilities. Strategic communication, in this case, enables objective environmental reporting. Objectively, not what we see in the Niger Delta. Objectively, transparency, clear, the correct and truthful information. CSR communication and community relations. I was happy when I heard about the CSR, activities when she was presenting her address yesterday. Truthful crisis communication. The crisis, that is the problem we have, because the oil-bearing companies, they always come out to say no, that NNPC has not given the true picture. Always be truthful while reporting crisis. Curbing most of the excesses of our politicians. Okay? The 6th one, institutionalizing environmental communication, just like I said. Every MDA, ministries, departments and agencies of the government, especially, I said something about Ministry of Environment, not here. They would have been brought here to here, like the Lagos thing we've talked about. Environment, agriculture, water resources, emergency management. They need a dedicated strategic communication unit, separate from PR. PR unit is different from strategic communication. They are not the same thing. Their key performance indices must go beyond press releases, because that's what we are used to measure shifts in public knowledge, attitude, and practice. The 7th one, empowering gatekeepers of tradition and faith, like we've talked about our religious leaders and traditional leaders. Religious and traditional leaders command deep community trust and moral authority. They are Nigeria's most credible grassroots messengers for sustainability. Never undermine the powers of our imams and pastors and traditional leaders. They are very, very powerful. What they cannot do does not exist. Yes. So the 8th one, measuring communication outcomes. It is time for us to shift attention from tracking media outputs to measuring social norms. Okay? A baseline should be our mirror. Key policy recommendations for the government, they are not here. We talked about dedicating strategic environmental communication units in all ministries, mandate annual CAP baseline surveys, fund community-based environmental awareness programs nationally. For the media, there are professionals. Shift from crisis reactive to sustained agenda-setting environmental coverage. Invest in environmental journalism training and dedicated environmental desk. Collaborate with scientists and communities for evidence-based reporting. Very, very important. For the corporate sector, the NNPC, adopt transparent environmental reporting beyond CSR optics, because that's what they do, CSR. Engage communities as genuine partners, not PR targets. Support environmental literacy programs in operational areas. For civil society and academia, for us, document and amplify indigenous environmental knowledge. Like Prof was saying yesterday about yam preservation. Yam preservation is a problem. For the northerners, in the olden days, they can preserve yams for up to a year without, but what is happening now? Buy yam, as he mentioned, 2 months. Or is even too much. Everything will be spoiled. So, build coalitions of traditional, religious, and community leaders for environmental advocacy. Conduct research measuring communication outcomes on sustainability. Before I conclude, look at what I said as conclusion. But my conclusion will come like this. Because we are here, we are partners. Before question, and that's the section, okay? One, as conclusion, I want to give us a task. I don't want us to go home remaining the same. Let us go with something as a result of this symposium. What do I want us to do? When you get home, for lecturers here, you don't have any problem. It's already sorted. For most of us from public, private universities, we have a problem. We have a very big problem. Let us begin from our offices, from our classrooms, like I've mentioned. When you reach home, your department, can we try and copy what we have seen here? The dustbin or the trash cans. Can we just practice strategic environmental communication? Look at the way they labeled them. And then go and persuade our students not to litter our classrooms. You enter a classroom to teach, you'll be wondering whether we are animals. We are to do the job. After we graduate our students in character and what? In learning. So let us help the government, the families, the parents in shaping their what? Their characters. So as we get home, try and practice this. Mobilize them. Advocate for it. But like I said, strategic environmental communication goes beyond the mere dissemination and sharing of messages. No, you can tell them. You can go there, talk about refuse, the trash cans, and how to, dispose them. When you eat in the classroom, but without providing the trash cans, you've not done anything. Look at, they provided 3. The first one, biodegradables. Second one, for those plastic recyclables. And for the other one, for what? For metals. Even if we cannot provide 3 of them, let us provide 1. Let us just provide 1 for our classrooms. I just hope we can do this when we get home. Look at, we are all enjoying the environment. Can we try and do something? It is high time we sit up. Let's not continue to wait on our government. We see they are not helping us. Let us help ourselves. Begin with our students. Then in your own house, apart from our offices, because we spend most hours of the day in our various offices. If that office is not good, you inhale what we are not supposed to inhale. At the departmental level or faculty level, we can do something. Like in my former university, we did it. The faculty, through faculty dues, constructed and built what? Restrooms. Because if you don't do it, you tell them, don't urinate here, don't defecate here. Why will they do that? Without providing something, an alternative where they will do it, you've not done anything. That's strategic environmental communication. Provision. At the departmental level or faculty level, let's advocate for restrooms for our students so that they don't defecate or urinate when you move down at the back of your office. The stench coming there, you are inhaling what you are not supposed to inhale. The mosquitoes, they bite you. By the time you get home, 1 month, you'll be sick. So let us go home with this mindset. So begin with our offices, our homes, our houses, your children. Get a trash can in your house for the refuse. Let them not litter everything. Sweep, pack. At the end of the, it can be on weekends, go and empty it at the right place. So, dear colleagues, this is where I stop, and thank you for listening. So, Q&A section.
Okay, so I think she deserves a better round of applause because she has done justice to this topic. Can we keep clapping for her? She has done very, very big justice to this topic. I mean, I need to see my notes like I came to class. Yes, I was just writing and taking notes of a lot of things she has said. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Angela Nwammuo, for that thought-provoking and very compelling keynote speech on strategic communication, strategic environmental communication. I mean, I like the way she ended it, the emphasis on let us continue to talk, let us continue to take note of our environment, and let us not just talk, not just communicate, but also provide the alternatives, provide things as which people should do in order to be able to be strategic about their environment. Please can we give her a round of applause again? And then yes, I can see all of a sudden there's this color in this place. Want to recognize the presence of the NNPC officials and the caps on our head. Please let us also give them a round of applause. Where is our professor?
Yes, mine.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
okay.
Okay, so it's now time for
Thank you.
questions, comments. If you have any questions, comments based on the speech that is just delivered to us, please feel free to ask. But before we go ahead with that, I would like to mention that you should please make your questions very brief. We are running behind schedule, and we have just 10 minutes to run this question and answer and comment sessions. So I'd like to see those who want to make comments. Please raise your hand so that we can just call your number and then, yeah. So we have just 3. We have just 3. Okay, then we'll start with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ahanon Emmanuel, Federal University of here. Thank you very much, Ma, for this wonderful lecture. You gave us a charge at the end of this lecture that when we get back to our various places, we should try to implement what we've seen. Now, most of the time, you know, like yesterday, like you rightly pointed out, when we were moving towards the downstairs to take the pictures, I noticed that there was a walkway, and there was the grass. Now, intuitively, I know already that I cannot walk along that grass. So I have to walk on the walkway. So these are things that, because everything will still fall back to the government somehow. Okay, let me give an instance. The problem with our politicians is that they travel a lot, but they refuse to imbibe or implement most of the things they see over there for us. For example, you mentioned something that got me irritated for almost 10 minutes. My face was a little bit. You said most of the houses in Lagos don't even have sockaway pits, so they channel it into the waterways. Now the thing is, over there where they always travel to, where their children are, they have a central sewage system. So you put in your house and it goes straight to the central sewage system. Now, why can't they implement these things here for us? Because Lagos State can actually start as the first state to implement most of these things. Because you talk about environmental hazards, and Lagos State, I think, I'm sorry to say, but Lagos State ranks at #1 in Nigeria. And I don't know what the Ministry of Environment is actually doing about this. You know, so that is aside. Because they have to set the pace for us to, like, even here I am now, even if I'm chewing something, the way I've made this place, I cannot put what I'm chewing on the floor. But there is a condition I'll meet this place. Naturally, I'll just
Drop
I'll
it.
just drop it. So I think Lagos should, since we're Lagos State, they should just take the lead in, doing most of these things. Then secondly, it's a question, man. I just needed clarity on something. I come from a public relation background. So you made a comment. You said public relation is different from strategic communication. So now, as a head of public relations, I'm also the head of corporate communication and strategic communication. So I just want to understand, whether you can juxtapose the two or if there is any. Thank you very much, man.
Okay, let me address this so I don't forget anything. Your first comment on the Lagos State, we mentioned it, and I said, painfully, Lagos State Ministry of Environment is not here, that they would have been invited to witness it. Painfully, no representative. That's bad, because how we did, assuming that they would have answered. Okay, so on PR and strategic communication, public relations. I am, from my CV, the immediate past chairman of Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Anambra State chapter. So I'm a PR person, and I've served ACC. My president is here. President, sir. That's Prof. President of ACC. I've served ACC for 5 years as PR what? Executive. I beg when I clap for me now. I beg. So you see, so I know public relations. What is the aim of public relations? What's the aim? Like I gave an example. The normal thing we know how PR is being practiced by corporate bodies and even government is what? Press release. They will just give out press releases to journalists. No. Strategic environmental communication goes beyond that. And PR, like they practice it, is reactive. When something happens, erosion, oil spill, flooding, they do what? They react to it by, like for instance, the warning signs from the Ministry of Environment. That's PR. That's reactive. It's not proactive. It's not a strategic environmental communication because they've not done anything. You don't want people to come out from the warning they gave us. From they said 9 to what time again? Is it 10 to 2 when the sun? For an average Nigerian woman hustling to feed her family, you tell her not to come because the sun will. How will the person survive? Strategic environmental communication here would have been going to the market to build something, sheds for them. That's strategic environmental communication. Not just that sharing of message. Don't do this. For bush burning, don't burn bush for our farmers. Don't use their fertilizer. Strategic environmental communication here extends to provision of an alternative. Are you okay with that? Yes. The next question, please. Proactive, yes.
Thank you, Prof. I think you've answered my first question. And we go to the second question. My name is Suluyinka Ulebunde. I'm a journalist. I'm the president of the Maritime Reporters Association of Nigeria.
Okay.
Well, as you were speaking, something came to my mind, the need for the agencies, particularly agencies that has to do with environment, the need for them to have a strategic environmental department. And I think it's something that the government needs to look at and work on. I was reading a report by the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics that was released recently, and I discovered that Nigeria imported about 1.3 trillion naira food in the last quarter, which is quite saddening. And the reason being that some have blamed the farmer headers crisis as a result of this. So I want to ask, to what extent can we classify the farmer header crisis as climate change issue that is affecting us? Or I believe it shouldn't just be merely a security issue. It should also be classified as a climate change issue. Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
No. Let me address that. I will use one example that Professor Bashir, gave us yesterday when he was presenting his paper. Prof said that majority of the problems in the Northeast, you know the problems now. Prof, you said is what? Climate what? Climate induced. That was the way he described it. Meaning what? Just the question you asked me. Farmer header. And the Prof said also, Northeast, what do we have there? So, just like you rightly pointed out, it is part of the problem. The clash between our farmers and herdsmen. What is the problem? Herdsmen take their cattle to farmlands. That's the problem, isn't it? And they eat up the crops planted by our farmers. And that clash, some herdsmen even kill farmers. That's the problem. And because of that fear, many farmers no longer go to their farmlands to cultivate. And because of that, food what? Insecurity. Have you seen how I directed it from this to this until we get to food insecurity? And our government, instead of tackling that problem at the root of it, they now reverted to what? Importation of... What do you want me to say? I am not the minister for agriculture. I don't know. So, importation of food, has it solved that particular problem? The answer is no. So, my dear, your guess is as good as mine. Next one.
the Prof, please can we make the last speaker, can you please make your question very brief? Because we are running behind schedule, please. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Adiola Oyeleke from Obafemi Awolowo University. Now, when the 8th recommendations, so beautiful. The moderator of yesterday's program was asking us our expectation. I didn't really talk, but inside me, my expectation was if the outcome of this symposium, if NNPC is not going to just sponsor this energy and environmental communication, if they are going to go forward to implement this recommendation. Yes, I've been in a street in Lagos for burial, and it was a tiny rain. It was just drizzling. We started perceiving smell. What is happening? They said people thought it is going to rain. They've opened their sock away. And we saw it flowing like this. And eventually it didn't rain. So that is what I saw physically. So if those areas, in fact, they need more than, environmental community, all this recommendation, it needs to be implemented immediately after this symposium. If not, next year we come back again, we present another paper. So please, that is my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's a contribution. So
yeah, it is. I just want to say something. That's why I will beg you, Pan Atlantic University, for next year, NNPC, please try and invite them, so that we look at their faces and tell them the truth. Commissioner, because someone, I don't know whether he's here, that wrote something on assessing reactions of people concerning the Twitter handle. What is he even tweeting? The Commissioner for Environment in Lagos. I wonder what he is tweeting there. The work to be done is out there. What is he tweeting? Assuming the man is there, I would have looked at him like this, or guy, what in the tweet? But he's not here. So the right people, the right people are not here. So it's just us talking. So next year, please identify the key people so that you bring them in. Thank you so much. And for this wonderful opportunity, once again, thanks. Out of excitement too, I spoke with the former Commissioner for Information, Anambra State, last night, and I told him my experience here. The man said he will come. So if he comes, I will tell you both. so that he will see. Let them see. They need to see. Okay? So thank you so much. They must see by fire, by force.
Congratulations.